Thank you for joining us. This is Health Your Own Way podcast, and I am your host, Mo Atkins. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of psychology of eating. Yes. So today, my guest is Amanda Love. She's a registered holistic nutritionist, and we're going to be talking about, again, psychology of eating. I want to say, before we start, anything you want to add, or what would you like to say about yourself before we begin today?
Yeah, I have a backstory. My backstory was I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia
Okay.
at 20 years old. So, I realized food plays a big part in how we eat and stuff like that. I found out I had very high food sensitivities, highest in his practice at the time. And I found out I had a soy sensitivity, egg sensitivity, and dairy sensitivity, and gluten sensitivity. And I was like 21 years old. So, I have a whole backstory that people could listen to on my podcast about my backstory. But I realized food plays such a big part in how we get well and stuff like that. And I think sometimes we downplay it
Okay.
when it should be like our number one thing that we do to improve our health.
First of all, I appreciate you giving some feedback in respects to your personal experience, because it kind of brings some authenticity, as well as understanding of why you're saying this and why you feel this way. Because when you listed all that, I was like, so what do you eat and how do you leave your house, Amanda? Okay. I think for a lot of people, I know I mentioned, the power of psychology of eating. What is that? What does that mean when we say the psychology of eating?
So I think a lot of times we think, oh, just food,
Mm-hmm.
and we just think, oh, food's there. But what is the psychology of eating is okay, what is your like how do you feel when you're eating that food? I think that's the biggest thing. Um, are you sitting down when you're eating that food? What are your emotions like preparing the food and stuff like that? Because I think a lot of times we prepare food and we're stressed out. What is that? Is that going into what we're doing? What like like
I think I know where
I
you're going
think
with that.
relationships play a big part too and stuff like that. If we don't eat our best, then how is that playing into what we're eating too? It's not just, oh, food's there and I need to eat again for the second time in the or third or fourth time, right? It's what is the emotions behind the food?
I think I understand where you're going with this, because then can it be confused for mindful eating or intuitive eating, or is this almost the same but different? You educate me.
Yeah, it's like intuitive. Yeah, it's intuitive eating and stuff like that. Okay, are you being intuitive about what you're putting into your body,
Okay.
or are you being stressed out about what's going on around you type of thing, if that makes sense?
No, it does. So what I'm getting from you is that, we mindlessly eat. Like, a lot of people wake up, you just go breakfast, you grab that snack, you just move. You don't really think about why you're eating or what that kind of emotion is affecting you while you're trying to prepare your food. So what I'm getting from you is basically, you know, if you understand what your feelings or what or the power behind your thoughts when you're eating, it can have a huge effect of your health as you get older, or even currently right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think people don't realize, okay, how is your health today
Mm-hmm.
and how is your health going to be when you're older? And I think I tell people this, what why does your health have to get worse when you get older? I was first 21 years of my life, I was super sick and I was constantly on antibiotics. I was constantly sinus infections, sore throats, and pretty much every week I would be sick and I would be sick for like 10 days at a time. And I was just down for the count. And I thought, okay, I'm eating fruits, I'm eating vegetables, just a normal 90s child's and stuff like that. We didn't have fast food very often. We didn't have I didn't have soda because I knew at a young age that that wasn't good, and I knew sugar wasn't great. Probably because I watched The Biggest Loser and stuff, that it started around my that time and stuff like that, so but for me, it was like, I didn't know I couldn't have eggs. I didn't know that was giving me headaches. And like the year before I found that out, I was having eggs all the time. I was having that for omelets. I was having that. I didn't know that gluten was such a high sensitivity and that both parents gave me that gene. And so, along with the soy and dairy. So, you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's what people need to realize.
I hear what you're saying, and I want to add more to that. Like a lot of people, when you eat, you think you even when you're young, you're used to certain type of foods. You grew up with certain foods, and you don't correlate how you may feel with that food because it's a culture thing or it's just something that you've always eaten, right? So what I'm getting from you based on your experiences is that sometimes you're right, you don't know what you don't know, but at the same time, if you're self-aware of what you're putting in your body and realizing that there's certain actions or reactions that happen after the case, or realize that, then to me that's in a sense the power of psychological eating, because you're self-aware of, okay, I put this in my body, how do I feel? Is this something that people can start practicing now? And if so, how can they start practicing doing that?
I think that's the thing. I call it like associative craving, where it's like a craving where you just have some memory of your past and whatever that food is. And for me, when I was sick, it was bean and cheese burritos. And that was a comfort food for me. And I think you need to realize, okay, why why am I craving this? Am I craving it because I'm stressed out? And I think a lot of times we're craving things because there's some inner trauma that needs to be healing. And so we're going to reach for the cupcake. We're going to reach for the chocolate chip cookie. Okay, what can you do? Can you stop yourself before you do it? Type of thing. And then realize, okay, maybe I need to go journal this trauma out. Maybe I need to go actually speak to this person. What is my mindset around why I'm eating the chocolate chip cookie? It's okay. I tell people it's okay to have a cookie. It's okay to have that once in a while. But are you doing it every single night? What are you avoiding? And a lot of times we're avoiding loneliness is a big thing where we're just sad and we're lonely. Okay, can you plan something a couple nights a week with some friends, with some family? Can you take a relaxing bath? Can you read a book? What can you do? Take a walk. That's a great way to distract yourself. But I think we need to get to the point of being able to sit with ourselves and being like, why am I doing the things I'm doing in my life? Why am I eating that cookie?
I like what you say, because a lot of people, especially as a holistic nutritionist, you
Yeah.
get people that are trying to change their diet, stuff like that, and there's so much you can do if a lot of it is rooted on some trauma, some psychological problems that you can't resolve alone. Like they need other, maybe a therapist or counselor, something that can address the root cause of that, maybe able to change their habits, and it can be change your eating habits and not have those kind of destructive snacking based on traumas that they're trying to basically, for lack of a better choice of word, eat. Eat their feelings.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is we all eat our feelings. It's not like we're all like,
I'm one of them. I
it,
eat my feelings.
I do it. I've been in a city for a little over a year and it's super hard, but like there's some point where you have to break the cycle and stuff like that. And I tell people, if you don't deal with the trauma stuff, you can eat great, whatever that means. Because I think a lot of times we think we eat healthy, but we really don't. But like, But whatever that is in your mind, but as soon as something comes up, like a stressful situation at work or a stressful situation with your family or your kids or something like that, then you're going to reach for the ice cream in the fridge. So I tell people, like, why keep temptation around and stuff too? Um, Maybe you decide I can't keep whatever it is, that temptation around in your apartment or your house. Maybe you are like, oh, that's something I could get once a week and I could go out, have a serving, and actually enjoy it, right? Because a lot of times, and this goes back to this is the whole thing is we go to our emotional eating and stuff. Why are we eating the ice cream? Okay, we just had a bad day and stuff. And are we actually sitting down while we're eating that food? Probably not. We're probably distracted watching TV as we're eating that food. So just, and your brain doesn't register that you're eating it, right? So you're going to continue to eat it until it's all gone, right? So just realizing, okay, why am I eating it? And am I sitting down and actually enjoying that food? And can I like do it outside of the house? Can I have that cookie outside of the house and not have a whole box of cookies in my fridge?
Mhm. I like when you made a comment about, there's certain things that you have no control over, not have temptation in your house. I don't have temptation in my house. My house has no temptation at all. And there's days like I'm just like, I want something. I'm just like, okay, there's nothing here. You have to leave your house to get it. Don't want to do that. So there's no temptation. And I think I like you have a lot of information to share. And I know I mentioned earlier that you're a holistic nutritionist.
Yeah.
If anybody was interested in maybe reaching out to you to help with just basically learning how to use psychology of eating or even just understand some of the challenges or even learn to eat better, what's the best platform to reach you out on?
I would say my Facebook, which is Amanda Elise Love, and I have a free Facebook group called Physical Emotional Health Secrets,
Nice.
which is also the name of the podcast.
Love that. So we're gonna have that in the show notes here. And I think before I let you go, anything that you want to add that you think a lot of people should be self-aware of when it comes to psychology of eating?
Um, I think it's the biggest thing is being patient with
Mhm.
yourself, and knowing it's an up and down journey, and just doing one of these steps will help you.
Which one of the steps? Share one of the steps.
One of the steps is, as I mentioned, was keeping the food out and going out and having that special treat when you go out. And most people don't go out like every single day, but twice a week is not going to hurt you.
It's true. Like out doesn't literally mean like go spend money, but it could be just going for a walk to the park, going out, going something that
Yeah.
involves you leaving your house. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Yeah, going out, it means walk, that type of thing. It doesn't always have to mean like something big, right? And I think that's the thing too.
Yes, right. Because it's expensive when you leave your house. Okay, it's expensive when you leave your house. So a lot of people will be like, but you're right. Like for me, sometimes if it's also boredom too, right? If you're bored, get some friends over or go for a walk or go to a park. If you have a dog or anything, I think what Amanda is trying to say is that one, just try to move yourself from that for that moment of feelings because you're not eating because you're hungry, but you're eating based on a specific type of internal trauma that you may be struggling with. Is that fair to say, Amanda? Or correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like we have different types of cravings, and like I think that's the thing too. And also realizing, are you eating enough food? Are you getting enough protein? Are you just eating carbs? Or are you eating like protein that actually keeps your body satisfied? Because I think sometimes if you don't eat enough food at a mealtime, then you're gonna go and you're going to go for those cookies later on or those chips. So are you eating enough food? Maybe, and I think that's the thing too, people need to realize is like certain days you're going to need more food. You're going to go whatever. I went hiking yesterday. So just realizing, okay, I need more food and my body needs more water. Are you drinking enough water? Are you just, and it's hot. I'm in Austin, Texas, and it's hot right now. So, but I realized yesterday to myself, I'm not drinking enough water because it's just easy to forget here. And for me, it's like, okay, that's something I need to work on. But for the audience, what can you do today that you're not doing? Is it drinking more water? Is it getting more protein at your meals? What small little thing can you do today?
Appreciate you saying that. I want to say thank you for this conversation because like it's nice to hear it verbally. Sometimes people you hear it all the time, but or even not even hear it, you read it all the time and you know it. But sometimes when you have people like yourself say verbally and just regurgitate, not even regurgitate, but repeat and assure that this is the same thought process that will work for you, it's good to hear. So again, anybody looking to learn more, wanting to discover more, please feel free to reach out to Amanda. And I want to say thank you very much for being part of the podcast today, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you join us. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share with anyone that needs to be empowered and inspired, and don't forget to join us next week for the next episode of Health Your Way podcast. Have a good day, you guys.